The Persona bays in Beyblade X all have something new. Upgrades. Each one of these bays is upgraded to be to their newest potential. So in this video, we're gonna find out if any of these upgrades can actually do something good competitively, and of course have fun testing them out. And at the end of this video, we'll rank the best out of all of them. So if you are new here and like bays that spin, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. And as well, make sure to check out Mall of Bays. We import from Japan and we are Canadian based. It is an optional way to support the channel, and I appreciate any and all support regardless. So starting us off with our first upgrade, we have Hell's Reaper. This upgrade replaces 470 and Kick to actually give you the Operate Ratchet Bit Fusion. Now this bit can change from being low height defense to the tall mode of attack. Now we're gonna actually do a quick little answer here. What happens when you have a simple ratchet? Well, in the case of these fused bit ratchets, you will probably explode and die. And that's what happened with Hell's Reaper, where it didn't even progress to like 3 rounds in practice, because we're like, well, if attack can burst it, and if we try to put it in the attack mode against stamina, it also loses by burst. That does mean that it is technically a worse upgrade for Hell's Reaper. Now maybe, right, maybe Operate can be good on other stuff, but I also been using my Operate quite a bit, and I've noticed that the locks have gotten a little bit looser, so unfortunately for the Hell's Reaper fans, we're gonna have to give this a thumbs down. Now for Drawn Brave's upgrade, what happens is you replace the slash assist blade and give it the heavy assist blade, getting a marginal increase in weight, making it a lot heavier. So for this, we wanted to first try it out against the opponent of Wizard Rod on 160 Hexa. It has great defense and stamina properties, and from there we'll see how the attack session did.
I'm nervous.
Okay, never mind. Okay, for real though? So the unfortunate thing with Drawn Brave is that you can't really fix the main blade shape, so despite this weight increase, it was not able to successfully beat Wizard Rod, and I was really hoping it could have done a little bit more. Now, against some of the other opposition, like for an example, I made a battle against Shark Scale on 170 Low Rush, which is also going to be used in this video. It was a low height attacker, good destabilizer, and Drawn Brave just kept on getting destabilized. It did get lucky because of the fact that Kick has a lot of stamina, so it could help a little bit of that end-game outspins. And against Hover Wyvern, you know, Hover Wyvern is just a CX destabilizer, so when we gave it that, like, 960 kick. So checking out Drawn Brave against Hover Wyvern was interesting. My goal was to at least see if it could use Kick's stamina to help it beat Hover Wyvern, but the reality is that Hover Wyvern is just such a good destabilizer against the custom line. So no matter how many times I tried, I couldn't overpower Hover Wyvern, which was unfortunate. So from there, I want to actually talk about the results. Now, considering that the meta is a lot more, you know, tougher for a lot of these blades that used to be kind of mid, but maybe usable, Drawn Brave's upgrade is definitely an improvement over the original in that regard, but it's still not enough for me to really like Drawn Brave overall, due to the fact that just Drawn Brave does not have that good of a shape. So is this a successful upgrade in making it better? Yes. But does this upgrade pass overall to be used in the competitive meta? I would probably say no, but if you're a Drawn Brave fan and you're trying to get this to work at all, probably gotta use heavy on it if you want to have any chance of survival. To do our next upgrade with Wizard Arc, we are giving it the new main blade of Might. And Might is a little bit interesting. It is an imbalance in the design, so I'm hoping if stamina fails, we can use it defensively. And for this video, we'll be actually giving it the free assist blade, since I feel it's a pretty good destabilizer to opponents, and 960 free ball. When I tried out this combination, the biggest issue that I found is that the free assist blade kind of has an issue where it might destabilize, along with the fact that the main blade is probably the big culprits here. While I did get some wins in points, I did find overall this build actually was ineffective. So for the remainder of this video, we'll be actually giving Wizard Arc the wheel assist blade, and we'll do 360 Hexa. So when we pitted this up against Wizard Rod on 160 Hexa, where this is the go-to build that has great stamina and defense, so the question of how exactly do you beat Wizard Rod with with using Wizard Might is something that I've been trying to answer, and to be honest, I think the answer is that you really can't. You can't beat it head on. And that was something that I was kind of just realizing, where it's like, hey, this is a very difficult task for something that's not going to get the most consistent results. Now, you of course can do devil's advocate and say, well, if you were to balance tune this for like 30, 40 minutes, or so, you know, just talking hyperbole here, then maybe you could get more consistent results. And that could potentially be true, or maybe a slightly different combination to fill that niche matchup. The best way I found to combat this release is simply just to tilt it. And not tilt it by like a tiny amount, tilted by a decent amount. Because if you're at a super low height and attacking it, what's going to end up happening is most likely at best that you just force the Hexa to go around on the stadium, you destabilize Wizard Rod and actually outspin it. Because the big issue with the custom line is always going to be the contact, among other things. If the metal is so raised to the top, it's going to be very tricky. The other thing you could do is also potentially KO it, but that's just mostly the luck of Might, where yeah, Might is probably better on attack combinations, maybe just for the fun of that, just to get that consistency. But the next opponent will be Shark Scale on 170 low rush. We'll see if it can do upper attack and destabilize our defense build. So against Shark Scale, I wanted to talk about my strategy against this build. So I do think my mistake was the fact that I was facing Shark Scale. But the big fuck you from Shark Scale is that it can get underneath this build pretty bad. Now, even if I did have the metal lock chip, I don't think I would have been that successful. So my goal overall was to try to block a lot of those hits from Shark Scale, trying to launch around it to hopefully make it deplete its stamina. And this is going to be a build where it's going to be a very high skill level just to be able to do well against it. Because if the player can do super good with the wheel and Hexa and read the opponent, then you should be able to outspin your attack builds. But otherwise, you could get KO'd. You could get overed. This is a build where, again, it feels strong, but it's not actually strong, if that makes sense. And I'm only talking about in the context with this having Hexa. Obviously, I think if you maybe use like a rubber XL, slightly worn, you might yield like really big results there. But I just want to focus on something that's like kind of easy to build for the most part. And also, I just don't have a rubber XL I can use right now that just to demonstrate the defense potential there. But there's definitely something. I want to try this out against Hover Wyvern on 960 kick. Hover Wyvern's a pretty good destabilizer. Can it tank it? Can it do anything? We'll see. All right, now how exactly do you defeat Hover Wyvern? A blade that can just lift up opponents and destabilize it. Now, the benefit is that Hover Wyvern has a strength and a weakness. It can hit pretty hard, but also that recoil can be used against it. So the important thing when using wheel is to try to make sure you do tilt a little bit. You know, I generally always say, tilt a little bit. That way you can kind of make contact with the metal. But a lot of times what ends up happening either way is that sometimes Wyvern might just hit it almost at like a flat angle and almost be completely pushed out because of the weight. This is where something also, like if you did have a metal lock chip just to give it that little extra weight, it would probably dominate even harder. Well, there are definitely cases where Hover Wyvern could do a complete reversal. This is on a case-by-case basis. I think this was the only time where this kind of felt like, hey, pretty abysmal. And it pretty much just got hard carried by the fact that Wyvern is a very dicey opponent to go up against. Sometimes it'll win super hard, sometimes it won't. But in the case of here, it does line up with the fact that since Wheel is pretty good at deflection and sponging attacks, and just the weight push, it was able to counter Wyvern, at least in this case for the video. But be mindful when you're playing against your opponents, be careful. So reviewing this upgrade compared to Wizard Arc, I would say that this upgrade is perfectly fine if we are to look at the results right now. I would definitely say that Might's biggest potential would probably just be leaving it on wheel for defense, because you could potentially, let's say, give the heavy assist blade to like the Blast main blade, and you could probably run 2 CX blades in your deck right now if you wanted to for competitive. I do feel overall these upgrades are pretty interesting. Obviously, we did have the central focus of this just being on Persona. So if I were to give 2 rankings right now, one for just the Persona base, like casual, and then after for competitive, I would say number 1 for the Persona base will probably be the Might upgrade. I think overall overall, that's probably going to give Arc the most consistency overall compared to the bunch of them. Second place will be the heavy upgrade for Drawn Brave, and third will just be the operate bits, just because, you know, there's not really much potential there with Reaper to begin with, but there might be use there for some other stuff. In general, I would probably say the only difference is heavy probably goes at the top, just because CX attack I think is going to get a lot more interesting, and that's something I want to explore. But I mean, yeah, that's kind of it for this video. So what are your thoughts on all these new upgrades? Are you excited to use them? Do you have any combos you're already using that you really like? Let me know in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video. So I want to say thanks for watching, take care, and bye.